So I know it might be a little bit late to the party, but you guys really wanted me to start commentating on some relationships in the public eye and just to get my take on it. So here it is. Why Cardi B and Offset were always doomed to fail. And this is going to be a perfect example that exemplifies the modern dynamics in how men and women choose to interact with each other when it comes to dating. And I think there's really some important things we can learn from these two, that even if you don't really resonate with who they are, there's definitely something we can take away to make sure we move better moving forward. Now, Cardi B went on a rant online about how Offset had cheated on her multiple times. Yeah, he'd been doing it multiple times. She's talking about how he's not loyal, how he's always out in the streets, putting his desires above his word. She's saying all this about a man who has 5 kids with 4 different baby moms. What did you expect? This is a man who clearly showcases that he doesn't take relationships with women seriously, or marriage seriously for that matter. He doesn't take commitment to women in general, and he is reckless in how he engages with women when it comes to being sexual with them. Now, I highly doubt that all 4 of his baby moms, he was fully intentional in having children with them, though maybe 1 or 2 of them probably wanted to trap him because of who he is. But this is where it's interesting. I know women like to say that the past doesn't matter, that it shouldn't matter. And usually when they say this, they're referring to when men talk about a woman's past. But the past matters for everyone, is the truth. And as a woman, if you look at a man and he has 5 children with 4 different baby moms and you go, that's the man I want, that says something about you, because you were choosing that kind of man. You're choosing not to recognize some unhelpful tendencies that this man has. And then you get into a relationship with this man and then get surprised about the toxicity or the things you don't like that come with being in a relationship with him. There has been a massive uptrend over the past 12 to 18 months now of a lot of women maybe complaining or expressing their unhappiness and dissatisfaction, and some even crying on social media about men and about bad relationships that they've been in, bad dating situations with men that they've been seeing for several weeks or several months. And I don't think that they realize this actually does them a disservice, because 1, what it shows is that you make bad choices in men. 2, it shows that you choose toxic traits in people, which shows that there's something toxic or unhealed about you. And 3, I'm just gonna be honest here, it shows a lack of class, because you choose to air your dirty business out online for the world to see. And women in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of women who do this, I think they think it's going to make people see them as a victim. And for other women that see it, it will make them see you as a victim. But for men, especially maybe the kind of men that you want, the kind of man who has integrity and class and takes responsibility, who treat a valuable woman the way they should be treated, it's just going to tell them to stay away from you, because essentially you're kind of telling on yourself. One thing that we really have to start to be able to differentiate, and this is for men and for women in general, we have to start differentiating between the caliber of a person and the quality of a person. And I guess I'm more expressing this to women because I think women have very high standards for the caliber of men that they want, but they don't necessarily prioritize the quality of a man as much in comparison. So if we take Offset and Cardi B, for example, Offset is a high caliber man, right? He is famous, he's very successful, he's wealthy, has a lot of status, has influence. He is a high caliber man, but he demonstrates being a low quality man. When we talk about quality, we're talking about the character, right? Caliber refers to a man's economic status, position, and influence. Quality is character, which refers to his integrity, which refers to his sense of responsibility, which refers to his sense of intention and integrity. So if you have a man who may be very high caliber, but he's a man who maybe doesn't have intention to take serious the woman that he has children with, maybe he doesn't care for the kids, and maybe he does, but I don't know how, if you have 5 kids by 4 different baby mamas, I don't know how you can be an active father presence in all of their lives to the degree that they would need. And a high quality man would understand that a child, son or daughter, it's important that he is an active father presence. It's not just enough to send money. You can't be out here in these streets getting married to other women and then having reckless sexual exploits. And it's interesting because this really comes down to the crux for me that I have such a love-hate relationship with the hip-hop world. I mean, one, I love it because it is an amazing grounds in which Black people can showcase their talents and are celebrated and have great influence in the world, can make great music and elevate themselves, which I love. And I listen to hip-hop and R&B all the time. That's my genre, right? I love it. That's my taste in music. But at the same time, there is a portion of hip-hop, which some might argue a large portion of hip-hop, that encourages a lot of degeneracy. It encourages a lot of toxic behaviors, a lot of toxic habits that don't contribute to keeping families together, that don't contribute to raising good, healthy-minded, and healthy-spirited children. It doesn't contribute to being a productive member for your family and your community. And I get, for women, I understand why they would want to prove they can do whatever a man can do, like having a roster like a man. You know, one guy who takes you out, one man you have sex with because he's got good dick, one man who's your emotional cushion. I get the pride in having the power to move how men move. I get that. And I get that in the sense of equality. But we have to understand that maybe a lot of the messaging that comes with this, especially from the men's side, in terms of always sleeping with different women, in terms of not taking them seriously, no matter if they have kids with them or not, in terms of treating them as disposable, that doesn't help either. And it feels like a lot of women in hip hop glorify this behavior in themselves just because that's what men do. And so they're like saying, oh, well, we could do that too. But it's kind of like saying, hey, you're being toxic, so for the sake of equality, we're going to be toxic as well. And I would just like us to rise above this, personally. To keep the celebration and elevation that hip hop provides, but let's start to clean that underbelly a little bit. But those are my thoughts on Offset and Cardi B. Like I said, I don't know if Cardi B expected anything different. And unfortunately, I don't think that makes people feel sorry for her. I think that makes people go, okay, maybe you'll learn your lesson and you'll learn the hard way. Because there would have been people telling her that he's probably not a good idea. I'd be very surprised if there weren't. But hey, there's a saying we have in Nigeria, right? Those that don't hear shall feel. She definitely felt it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, keep it slick.